Other things that I might be able to see are show me all the people who are coming to my site from a particular search query, or show me all the people who are coming to my site in a time frame, so in the last 10 days. But in this case, let's say I want to look at the referrer, and I want to see, show me all the people in New South Wales where the referrer just contains Twitter. And if I click back into the report there, it's going to query that database, it's going to query my customer information, and it's going to query that behavior, so all people in New South Wales that have come to my site based on that Twitter referral. And as long as there's a lot of people, it will load and it will say, all right, well now I have my segmentation. These are all the individuals in New South Wales, so Will's doing a pretty good job. I've got 278 people who have come to my site from the Twitter referral. So I have my segmentation list now, and now I'm ready to execute a campaign. I want to send all the people who have come from Twitter to our event.
And Michael, so now that you have all this data in here, and you go, wow, you have got some traffic coming from social media. What you're saying that because you have the ability to connect this to a CRM database and tie it to the sales data, we can actually make some direct correlations?
Absolutely.
Pretty cool.
And the big thing about this is, from how you would typically do this in the past, once I'm ready for my execution, I want to send out an email. You'd probably export this list out. Or maybe your data planner did this for you, and then they'd export the list, and then you'd import it into MailChimp or something, and you'd send out a gigantic email blast, and you'd have your deliverability rates over here, and you'd have your segmentation over here, and neither of the two should meet. But again, with one database, combining all this information, now I can just click into the marketing activities section. And what we talked about marketing activities, this is where I'm going to automate everything. This is where I'm going to do my scoring. This is where I'm going to do my nurturing. This is where I'm going to do any of the triggers at the database level. So automations, SMSs. When someone comes to my site, I want to send them an SMS. And finally, this is where you actually can do some events, invitations. So actually, for this event, we manage all of our invitations, all of our reminders, all of our registrations directly from here. And we did some A/B testing on it. So we wanted to A/B test the subject line, and we wanted to A/B test the copy. So if I click in, I can look at my testing email. And the big things that we wanted to test here were, from a subject line standpoint, some of you received an email that said, event invitation, New Frontier in Database Marketing. And then some of you just received an email that said, New Frontier in Database Marketing. And we want to see, do we think that's going to actually affect the open rates?
So our hypothesis was that if we had event invitation, we were going to have more people respond?
Yeah, honestly, that was our hypothesis, but we didn't know what was going to happen. And then from a copy standpoint, you can see my two emails here. In email A, we wanted to test if we didn't put the details of the event, if I didn't tell you what day this event was going to turn on, would you click into the event and you want to learn more of when this actual event is? Or if we put the details in there, does that increase the probability that you'll actually click through? So first test that we talked about, and you can see here I have my deliverability rates. How many of these emails were delivered, how many people I sent it to. And then finally, on email A, we can see there's actually a pretty huge variance. So for the invitation that had event invitation in here, we had a 20% variance. 46.3% of people opened that email compared to where we didn't put event invitation. And then from a click-through rate, not as big, but still pretty significant, that when we didn't put the details of the event in there, it had a 10% higher click-through rate for the people who did put, when we did put the event details in. And here I don't think that the numbers are significant, although they're great to see. I think what's significant about this is, in this New Frontier database marketing, is I was able to do this in a matter of minutes. I was able to take my segmentation, I was able to send out an email, I was able to take our creative from an email and randomize my sample and send out emails, and then this does it for me. And I'm able to take these numbers and optimize it in a matter of seconds. So this is something that you've never been able to do before.
So, I mean, in my past experience in working with some big companies and also some small and medium-sized companies, is that this takes a lot of time. How long did it take you to test those two emails?
So it was just part of the flow. So creating this actual campaign out, the optimization of these results, it just happens on the fly. So it's going to update in real time. And the huge thing about this is 20% on numbers like this. Great, 100 people, I'd get 20 extra people. But when you're sending out hundreds of thousands of emails and you can create these type of results that quickly, it has a huge effect on your ROI. It has a huge effect on your deliverability rates. And then down the line, your conversions and your actual revenue are going to be affected by it.
Well, it's a good point, right? Because at the end of the day, all I'm interested in is who's converting on our landing pages, who's downloading stuff, who's registering for events.
Sure.
So if you can do this testing in your emails, can you also test landing pages?
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings us into the final section, and that's the design studio. So again, this is where you're managing all of your marketing assets. Whether your agency is managing it for you and uploading all the HTML, this is where we're going to manage your emails that you're sending out, the landing pages that you're creating, any of the forms that are on your site. And you can do this if you're a client and you don't have an agency, you can do this like that, or you can just get the HTML from your agency and put it in. But again, the key here is I'm able to do A/B testing just as simple as I did it on the email level. I can do it at the landing page level as well, and I'll show you. So this is one of our landing pages. Some of you were able to go to this group, and for our A/B test on landing pages, we wanted to see if we put some extra creative in this landing page other than Brad Howard's great photo there.
Yeah, he is a pretty face.
And I'm sure Brad Howard's photo alone is going to get people to register for the event. But what if we entice people a little bit? Let's see how hungry these people are about data. So I did an A/B test on 3 groups. So I've got my landing page here, and you can see in the bottom here I didn't put a creative in. And then I said, well, maybe we have some people from European descent in the room. So let's see if we had Brad's picture, and then I added a picture of a croissant and some jelly in there. Are you guys more enticed to come to the event? Are people going to register more when they see some food in there? Or maybe you're like me, and I'm not going to wake up at 7:30 in the morning unless you tell me there's a hot breakfast coming in the room. So then finally we said, let's put a big slab of bacon and eggs on there. And I bet you that more people come to this event if they see that. And the Sybase people out there, I'm sure some of you went out there and they saw the Sybase and they looked at the hot breakfast. So we wanted to see, do you really think this is going to affect the behavior of people? Are more people going to register if they see bacon?
Or do we have? I mean, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's see how many people came thinking they were getting a hot breakfast. Let's dig in.
So
let's get a show of hands. How many people received the hot breakfast creative? Raise them high. How many people received the continental?
Well, they probably would. You probably would have no idea, right? Because this was randomized, and what I did with this test group is. My test group, it creates a URL, and when your team is clicking a link into the email, or if I blast this on social media, it's going to dynamically serve a landing page randomly.
So you didn't have to set up different, multiple changes every time you wanted to test?
Absolutely not. It's one unique URL, so if you click on it today, it's still an active campaign, and you do it a bunch of times, you'll get a new landing page each time. And the great thing, just like the email deliverability rates, I've got my conversion rates here. So I've named the group. We've got the control group, so that was the picture of just Brad, and you can see we had a 27% response rate, and then we had the test group. I called "Where's my bacon?" So these are for the Europeans in the room who had the continental breakfast, and actually the continental breakfast, 1% less of people wanted to come to the event instead of just seeing Brad's picture with the control group.
Sold.
But the interesting one was the bacon. Bacon had a 5% increase in actual registration. So when individuals see bacon, and there's 39 people in this room who probably feel a little shortchanged at the moment. So you can take that $5 that Will gave you at the beginning. If you don't learn anything here, head down to McDonald's and you can get yourself a bacon. And I think what's significant, just like I talked about on the email, it's not the results. It's funny that I'm able to do things like this. But what's huge about this new frontier in database marketing is I was able to do this. I don't know how to do HTML. I was able to create these landing pages. I was able to do A/B testing on an email. And I was able to see results that I can optimize later down the line. That's not something that you've been able to do, or you're doing it with multiple databases, or you're doing it on databases that are too hard to use in the past. So it's being able to take these results, no matter what they might be, and how you can improve your campaign effectiveness and your overall campaign ROI in the end of the day.
Cool. Yeah. And look, Michael, I think that was a great example of, one, how easy is it? You don't need to know code. You can drag and drop in the interface. You can have access to multiple sets of data. And this is why companies like Marketo are really starting to win and win big, because they are making it easier for that for those marketers.